Welcome to Brownsville at Large, a podcast where we highlight the voices, ideas, and progress shaping our city. I'm your host, Tino. In today's episode, we are joined by a truly inspiring young leader, Rayyan Farooqui, a junior at IDEA Brownsville and vice chairman of the city's newly formed Youth Advisory Board. Rayyan isn't just leading among his peers. He is also an aspiring rocket engineer and a passionate YouTuber with big dreams for the future. We'll talk about his role on the board, the importance of youth involvement in civic life, and what's fueling his passion for space, science, and service. Rayyan, welcome to the show.
First of all, thank you so much for considering me and having me. It's an honor that you had me come out, and I'm seeing the setup, I'm seeing the team, seeing all the work that's being done, which is amazing. And so I'm feeling really comfortable. You're making me feel comfortable. It's like a normal conversation. The first time for everything, but that's what I'm here for. And I just can't wait to get into the conversation and see where we head.
Absolutely. So just a quick background for all of our listeners. So the Brownsville Youth Advisory Board is a civic leadership program that was adopted by our city commission. Obviously, that was one of my big ticket items when I got elected into the city commission. And it met with unanimous, no big deal. All of our commissioners, the mayor, everybody thought it was fantastic, because the most important part is to give young students an opportunity to participate in leadership skill sets. And I think that that's very important. Our Youth Advisory Board meets monthly. We have currently 19 members from private, public, and charter platforms, and you're our vice chair, but you're probably the most active member on our commission. On the board for the commission. Rayyan, how have you enjoyed so far your time serving on this board?
So first of all, I'll say very, very transformative experience, because enjoying the journey is one thing, but the fact that this journey shaped who I am, it taught me so much. That's like a whole nother level of enjoyment. I get to go to these events. I get to see like those events from a different perspective, a different lens. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the fact that I'm being seen and I'm there for a specific reason, and that's for others. So I feel like that's the enjoyment factor, and as to why I've been loving this journey that I've embarked on so far.
So let's talk about the journey. So you get sworn in. You guys have elections for officers and all of that good stuff. And then right away, it was like a quick turnaround, and we're like, hey, help us get the One City Youth Scholarship golf tournament off the ground. You were there all day. I was there with you. You're there with some of your peers. How was that? How did you enjoy the golf tournament?
It was amazing. First of all, as you mentioned, we start off with a meeting. First meeting was like an introduction on like what it's going to look like. We did the oath ceremony. And then that was like the first hands-on experience on what it feels like to be part of this board. And as I said, we were there the entire time. We were making sure we were looking out for the people, making sure the entire event runs smoothly, because in the end of the day, the initiative itself for that event is something that I hold really close and important myself as well. And wasn't only like that day. I remember like before that event, going out, looking for sponsors, looking for organizations, and just kind of having that kind of dynamic to push an event like this. And the fact that it was kind of meant for the youth, and we were kind of like this spotlight, and like the shadow that we had casted was like for us, and the initiative was being led and it was being given to the youth. And so I feel like that was the main part about it. And I just loved going hands-on with our fellow board members, and it was just overall an amazing experience.
Well, you guys did a phenomenal job, and I'll tell you. So when we developed the One City Youth Scholarship Fund, it's obviously meant for our community members that may, do well at a chess tournament, and they are asked to represent Brownsville at a chess tournament, at an arts, dance recitals, sport activity, even like a masterminds challenge, a science project, whatever young people are excited to do. Sometimes in order for them to go represent the city of Brownsville, there's financial constraints. And we wanted to give a vehicle for you guys to own, right? And you just said it. You took ownership. You guys were calling sponsors at the golf tournament. You were even driving around, making sure that everybody had water, they had enough, hydration, saying hello to people, taking pictures with them. There was just so much activity. But now there's a fund. Walk us through the process, because you guys are in control of that fund, and you guys came up with a little criteria. How much of that do you remember? Like, what is it, the criteria that you guys came up with for that?
Well, before I jump into that criteria, because you brought up a good point that I would kind of like to shed light on. I have personal experience with what it was like to get into a program and what it was like to fundraise for that program. Last summer, I got into the Rice University's Aerospace Academy. And that academy, it was at this prestigious university, but it came with a price tag. And so a lot of the efforts for that went towards fundraising. And that's when the community kind of came together, organizations like Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation, and they were able to fund my project to go to Rice University. And so I feel like having this kind of an initiative, if I had it then, it would have made it really, really easy to collect the funds. But I can speak from like not only a perspective of someone who's going to be assessing those applications going off of the criteria that we've set, but also what it feels like to be someone requiring those funds to go. And so I kind of have that perspective in mind when we're looking at these applications that kids come in, whether it's for a tournament that they want to go at, or whether it's like a conference that they've been called at somewhere upstate and they need the funds to go there. Our criteria is followed by a rubric that we have. And that rubric lists down all the points that we need to make sure that we see in the application. The people that do apply have those specific writing prompts that they have to fill out. And we use those to kind of get insights on what the student is and if the funds that they require are going to the motive that we uphold as well. So it's more like a criteria-based application process.
Great. And then I'm familiar, I'm aware, at least I've heard that then there's also follow-up, right? Like come back and report how you did, how the conference was, how to utilize the funds, right? There's going to be also that kind of reporting back to the board.
Yeah, and of course that is a very, very important factor because we just don't want to hand out the funds. We want to make sure that they were able to get the most out of those funds. And so I feel like that system of having them report to us with what they did is very important. And it just gives us a sense of renewal that, hey, we had these funds allocated for this specific student. And it gives us this acceptance that, hey, the funds went into the right motive and went to the right place. So that system is a great system established to get help. It helps us see how we're doing our job, handing out those funds. So that really shows light. It helps the other side because they get to report back and make sure that there's this system of
checks and balances.
Yeah, checks
right?
and balances. There you go. And then we kind of get to, on the other side, get to see what that process was like for them and improve it for the next applicant.
That's fantastic. And besides doing fundraisers for that scholarship and the distribution of funds, what else have you guys been doing? What else have you participated in? Have you volunteered? I know that I think you went to the Little League opening day.
Yeah.
But what else have you guys been doing? What else have you and your peers gotten involved in because of the involvement of being part of the Youth Advisory Board?
Yeah. So besides just the use the scholarship program that we have, I really honor the fact that we've been given opportunities to go to all these different events. As you brought up this past weekend, I was at the West Brownsville Little League opening ceremony for their baseball and softball teams, and it was amazing to get to be a part of that community and engage with the players and everything. Our entire board got invited to the One City Mayor's conference that took place a couple weeks ago at the TSC Arts and Performance Center.
The State of the City, right? Yeah.
There you go, State of the City. And it was an amazing experience to get to hear our city's leaders talk about what trajectory our city is headed towards, right? So this gives us kind of this perspective, not only from a youth, but what it feels like to be engaged in the government, the local government. Besides that, there are opportunities such as career fairs and these different festivals that come up, right? There are already 3 that we have lined up in the next couple, 2 months that we're going to be attending. And all of that is to make sure that we try to put out the word as much as we can.
So like Rally the Valley,
There
right?
you go, Rally in the Valley. I'm working with the people at Rally in the Valley to kind of make sure that it goes and bring the kids out and everything. That's one of the main things that we have. Another thing that I recently started was the Parks and Recreational Master Plan, and they would love to hear from the youth as to what they would like. And so, as being part of the Youth Advisory Board, it's our responsibility to kind of go out to these, whether it's like conferences or these community leadership meetups, and get to give input from a youth mindset. And so we get to engage in these kind of plans and these kind of conversations that really shift what the city is headed towards. And I feel like that's one of the most important things that we've experienced so far.
That is so cool. I know that there's another big, obviously, what grade are you in?
I'm a junior.
So you're a junior. So you're okay. So
Yeah.
so you're going to continue the consistency. I would hope, right?
Yeah.
So then this is a really big deal, right? Because we have a lot of seniors, I think, on the youth advisory
Yeah.
board. But as a junior, I know that the next big fundraiser for the scholarship dollars is going to be the One City 5K and 100-meter dash competition.
Yeah.
That's going to take place September 21st, 2025 at the Brownsville Sports Park.
Yeah.
It's going to start at 8 in the morning. What's the pitch? How do we get people to sign up? What can we do? Why should they sign up first and foremost? And
Yeah.
where do they sign up?
Right. Well, first of all, I love the idea of the run. I love to like go to these runs. I'm at a run like every weekend, and it's a great community turnout. But I feel like the most important thing that's going to drive people towards it as to why people should consider this, similar to the golf tournament that we had, is for the youth. If you care for your kids, if you care for your children to have a better future, and it starts with events like this, for you to be able to take part in these events, because 100% of that is going towards a good cause, is being given, it's being handed to youth for youth. And I feel like that is one of the most important reasons that everyone should consider as to why, even if you're not competitive, still consider showing that support, because that support will definitely go a long way. And we, as a youth advisory board, ensure of that. As far as the signing up goes, the registration links have been opened, and people have been signing up for the races. I do know some other organizations are already advertising and pushing this race up forward. So it's one of the most best events, because I do 5K events, but this one that's being hosted on a way bigger scale. You have that element of a 100-yard dash, and how like you have the top 5 from each 5K. I feel like that's just a great element, and I feel like that hopefully will definitely bring out a lot more people than you would have to show just for a 5K, because you have this now big event that's being hosted.
It's like a little competition
it's
at
like
the
a
end,
little
right?
competition in the end, and then there's a prize for like the winners in the end from the 100-yard dash. I feel like there are multiple reasons that are drawing to why people would want to consider this, but the most important one is that it's for the youth and it's for the future of Brownsville. I feel like that's one of the main things to hold yourself up to.
That's fantastic. Well, we hope, and we'll provide some links here as well when we air this.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that people know where to sign up. We want people to participate. Like you said, when it's for youth, when it's for the kids, there's never anything that should stop anyone from at least attending, either running, or you don't want to run, go walk it, or just be there, or sponsor, or just be part of it in some way, form, or fashion. Kind of last thing that we're going to discuss is volunteer opportunities. You guys also do a lot of volunteering.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So as a youth advisory board, we've kind of held ourselves up to this kind of commitment that each month we'll at least volunteer at one organization or one volunteering event, whether it was the Great American Cleanup or volunteering with an organization, or how the city needed a lot of kids to come out and do the egg filling for the Easter event. So events like such opportunities do pop up, and as a student leader, not only in the youth advisory board and the city level, but also in our school, it's our responsibility to extract those volunteering events from the city and push it towards our school. And not only make sure that we don't show up, but those people show up as well.
Bring your peers,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's
Bring
just like
people
setting an example for them to show up, because if they see you are the one that's telling them to go, and if you're the one that show up, then they're most likely going to show up, right, for that credibility reason. So I feel like a lot of those events, they are recurring. they will be coming continue, and we want to make sure that we push those volunteering events, whether it's through the city or any specific organization, to kind of direct it towards the youth and have them come out and engage in the community as much as they can.
That's amazing. What have you, like, I know there's a lot of stuff. When we talked at the One City, you kind of were like, you know, I'd like for you to share with our audience. You were kind of telling me, there's a lot going on in Brownsville that I was unaware of, right?
Yeah.
The future of Brownsville's bright, and now Brownsville's an option as a future destination for you, right? Can you share to our listeners and our viewers that comment that you made?
And it was like kind of in the moment thing, right? We got right out of the event after listening to Mayor Cohen talk about all the amazing stuff. And me personally, I moved to Brownsville not too long ago, right? I'm an immigrant to the United States. And at first, my impression of Brownsville was like, I've always lived in a big city, and to move to Brownsville was like, it was a bit hard of a transition. But then the more I got exposure to the things that are happening here, the more I was like, okay, like this could be the spot for me to come back. So yes, I do want to go to college. I do want to experience what the world is like. But in the end, I want to bring all of that back to Brownsville. And I feel like Brownsville has that same relationship with me, the same way I'm trying to establish that relationship with Brownsville. And so I feel like a lot of things that were discussed in that event, I reflect with those, and I definitely am so optimistic and looking forward to those opportunities. And I'm most definitely sure that anyone that can get an idea and a sense of what's going to be happening in the city and what the plans are for like the next 10, 15 years, there is no way you would not want to be a part of something greater than yourself and make sure you're right here in the heart of the valley in Brownsville.
That's so awesome.
The most important thing. Yeah.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to study?
I want to study aerospace engineering. So I'm a space geek, and I love the fact that we have SpaceX right in our backyards. I go to every single rocket launch. I try to engage myself in anything aerospace related, whether it being in a rocket team or being part of an organization that does outreach in STEM. I want to make sure I go to a college that is worth my time, get that degree, and then hopefully come back here and work at SpaceX. That would be like a dream come true.
Yeah.
And working in an aerospace agency is something that I like aspire to do.
So where are you applying? What are you looking like? What universities have you kind of pinpointed as like, these are some of the places I really want to attend?
Yeah. So as a junior, this is like the most important year to kind of set your mind towards what you want to do, because once you hit senior year, you start applying, right? So within the state of Texas, I've narrowed down to 3 colleges, and that's UT Austin, Rice University, and Texas A&M College Station. Then when you look at out of state is when I want to go up north, and you're looking at Boston, you're looking at MIT, followed by Caltech, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. Those are like my top 4. But as of now, it's just a matter of working as hard as you can to prove to those colleges that you deserve the spot there. But that's kind of in the headspace that I'm at when it comes to colleges.
That is so awesome. Any thank yous, you mom, dad, family?
Yeah, of course.
This is your time. This is your moment to.
Yeah.
You're a phenomenal young man. I'm super honored to meet you, to know you, to have you on the show, to have you serve on the Youth Advisory Board. Knowing you're a junior, hopefully, continue with the Youth Advisory Board. I really do think that we're just barely getting to know each other. The mayor was with you this past weekend. You've gotten to know a lot of people, but this is your chance. Anyone you want to thank, mom, dad, family, teacher at school, or someone that really has helped shape you?
Well, I'm going to take it this way. So for an immigrant and a first-generation college student, there's this sense of really honoring any opportunity that you've been given and just kind of holding it and running with it, right? That's something that my parents have taught me, to not let go of an opportunity. And that's why you see me taking time to go out to every single event I can, because I feel like the fact that I've been given this opportunity through the city, and it's been directed towards me through the principal and my very great counselor, Ms. Flores, who told me about all this when I first found out. It was amazing. And so thank you to all those people, but most importantly, my parents. My parents are like my biggest backbone to whatever I do. And a lot of the things that I do is I want to make sure that they're happy with it. I love seeing the smile on their face when I go home and I tell them, Mom, I was part of this event, or I got to go out to this fair, or I was on a podcast with Mr. Villarreal. Just seeing that smile on the face assures me that I'm headed down the right path. And so ultimately, that's why my parents, my family, we moved to Brownsville, and we moved to an entirely new country for me to get those opportunities. So great thanks to my parents, of course, always. Another person that I would like to thank is Mr. Alan Gard, who's with us in every single meeting. I'm like corresponding with him almost on a daily basis as of now with the events and everything that's looking at. And I really, really appreciate Mr. Alan Gard and the city secretary for their time that they give us every month, sometimes even twice, to meet and kind of host and put all these events out for the city.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, Mr. Guard, our deputy city manager, our CFO, like he is heart and soul. Like his face brightens up every time. He's like, we met with the youth advisory board and they're talking about this, and we've invited them here, and they're volunteering there, and he just does such a great job. And I echo that. I want to thank you. I want to thank your parents, your counselor, your principal, Mr. Guard, and thank you for the time. Thank you for being on the show. I hope that it was smooth. I hope that you felt comfortable. What do you think of all the little knickknacks that I have going on here?
I love the setup.
So especially with your passion.
Yeah.
I've got the space helmet. I've got the starship there. There's a little bit of everything. Even our this is the outfit that I wore at one of the Charro Days outfits that's back here.
I remember, yeah.
And so that's one of the outfits. And then I've got my guy over here with the Puro 956 license plate and our Visit Brownsville shirt on. Some of the great stuff. Anyone who likes to give me some things, I just try to put it up here to just make it cozy, make it Brownsville, and make it fun. So
this defines Brownsville. For the first thing I walked in, my eyes went to the starship, right? And I just love how this kind of speaks to whoever's in here that, hey, this is what Brownsville's about.
Yeah.
And I totally love that. Thank you so much, though.
Any last comments? Any last anything? Any ideas? Something that we did not talk about that you wanted to discuss today?
One thing is that I wanted to address the youth, and it's like a direct message for them.
You can talk to that camera right there.
And that is to take the opportunity that you have and acknowledge the fact that we are fortunate enough to have leaders in our community that won't only listen, but will act on it as well. So, and I learned that being in the youth advisory board. The point that I'm trying to make here is that just make sure you're using these opportunities. The fact that you're in a growing city, not only demographically, but energetically as well. Just use that as an advantage to yourself. And if you've ever said that, oh, I wish Brownsville had this or Brownsville had that, you're the exact person that we're looking for to be a part of this and speak up, right? Because in the end of the day, this is going to be for you when you grow up, because we're not only the future leaders, but we're the current stakeholders as well. So one comment that I like to make is that if you think you're old, like you can make change when you're older, you should change that perception to you need to start caring enough to make those changes. And I feel like having that perspective is going to propel you forward in any aspect of life. And I learned that being in the youth advisory board the most.
Wow. Rayyan Farooqui. I mean, could I have said it better? Absolutely not. Thank you again for the message. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion, and thank you for your service. That wraps up episode 3 of Brownsville at Large, a podcast by Tino Villarreal. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Brownsville at Large, voices that shine, telling our stories one episode at a time. News, ideas, and local pride. Tune in now, come along for the ride.